Hey. Hi. How you doing? Welcome back. My name is Shannon and this is Wine, Tea, and Paper. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I feel like I've been introducing all my videos that way, but it's true. I'm doing something a little bit different today. So I've been watching the Hardback Hoarder for a while, and I really enjoy her SipsBy TEASPILL videos, and since I do get SipsBy, I'm gonna kind of do the same thing, but probably not as awesome as what she does. I have two SipsBy boxes here, and I want to talk about them. So I have December's and January's box. The reason being is that I started my new SipsBy subscription in November, and I used a code for my first box, and it was supposed to be $10 instead of $15, and it said I got it, but I never got it. And I was like, that's weird. I wonder if it'll just show up like late on my doorstep one day. And then it was December, and then they said they sent me my December box, and I didn't get my December box, and I was like, this is really weird. So I emailed them, and they sent me a replacement December box, but I still haven't received my November box, but I got my January box. So I don't know what's happening. So there's two boxes floating around somewhere that are mine, but I just never got them, and they're like 2 months old at this point. So I don't know. I already talked about one of the teas in my December box, and I'm still drinking it over here, the peppermint.
Peppermint? What are those things called? Maroons? Not a maroon. Macaroon.
That's it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so for my December SipsBy box, normally they give you a card with what's in here, but since this is a replacement box, they decided not to give me my card, even though I didn't get it in the first box. So I have no idea what these are or anything. I'm just going off of what's on the friggin' things. So I have two bagged teas, a loose leaf tea, and then a specialty in here. First off, I have this tea. Aha. This is Zest tea called Blue Lady, and it is a high octane tea, and it says it has as much caffeine as coffee. It says the rush without the grind. Our blends have as much caffeine per cup and contain L-theanine, an amino acid found naturally in tea that helps promote a calm and steady alertness. And if you watch my weekly vlog video, you know I already take L-theanine daily, so this is cool. So yeah, this has actually more caffeine than coffee. It's a flowery orange pico black tea, tea extract, hibiscus, passion fruit flavor, orange peel, cornflower petals, and natural lemon. So it's kind of like an Earl Grey tea, but it's called Blue Lady. Like there's the Gray Lady, but it's the Blue Lady. Okay, so I have 4 of those. And then I had 4 of the Pinky Up peppermint macaroon tea, and I talked about this a little bit already in my previous video. And this is a herbal tea, caffeine free, and it has a whole bunch of stuff in it. And it says, whether you're in the holiday spirit or not, the peppermint macaron tea is sure to perk you up. So delicious, you'll be reaching for this flavor no matter the season. And I have to say, it is really, really good. Okay, next we have the loose leaf tea. And this is vanilla bean organic black tea. And it is from Rishi Teaser, a hand-packed sample of one of our prized loose leaf teas, procured from the farthest reaches of the world just for you. I'm excited that this is a vanilla bean tea, and I really like this packaging. It's like someone wrote on it in pencil like the batch number, and there's a stamp that says it's like registered on like what day, and like it says customs. Like there's like, I think this is cool, and packaged with 100% compostable materials. So this bag that this tea is in is compostable, so I think that's pretty cool too. The last tea is a flower pot tea, and so I did these SipsBy unboxings before on my other channel, and I had one of these before, and it blooms into this really cool like flower looking thing from this ball. Like it's covered in foil, and you like take it out of the foil and you put it in a pot of tea, like a pot of hot water, and it blooms. And I don't know what flavor this one is. I just put that in my mouth. But it smells really good. I would know what flavor it was if they gave me the little stupid card. Whatever. Okay, so that was my December box that came in January. Whatever. And then this is my January box, and it actually has a card. So January teas made for Shannon. I am Shannon. And in here we got a couple teas. So going down this list, we have chocolate candy cane. And this is by the Spice Tea Exchange. So I actually visited a Spice Tea Exchange before in Delaware, and I picked up a couple different teas, and I think they were all like green teas, because I was really into green tea for a while, and I still have some of them. So I'm pretty excited to get this in my box because I already know that I like this tea in general. This is a black tea, and it has black tea sprinkles, peppermint leaves, candy cane pieces, and cocoa nibs, and it contains soy. So that's interesting. I do like these tiny little candy cane sprinkles. They look really cute. I don't know if you can see them. And this tea is actually from St. Augustine, Florida, but I didn't visit the original one. Like I said, I visited the one in Delaware. And the tea shop there is so cool. There's just like these little tea containers everywhere, and there's like tea accessories and tea books, and like everything about tea is in this store, and it's like so cute and cool. So I'm excited about this. And then we have a blood orange tea by Harney & Sons, and it's loose leaf. I actually enjoy Harney & Sons. There is a coffee shop that I used to go to a lot when I went to college at W&J, and they sold the Harney Sons for their hot tea. Like that was their hot tea brand. And I've actually never had a blood orange, so this is kind of interesting. This is a refreshing herbal tea, and let's see, there is apple pieces, orange peel, rose hips, hibiscus, beetroot, safflower petals, marigold petals, orange flavor, raspberry flavor, and grapefruit flavor. And it says it's from Middle Europe. Germany and Austria, has developed a great affection for fruit trees. They have no caffeine but look stunning and taste delicious. Blood orange is lovely hot or cold. Okay, I think it's like not iced tea season for me, so I'm probably gonna drink it hot, but we'll see. Okay, next we have an English breakfast tea, and I absolutely love English breakfast tea. I think it's like one of my favorite teas ever. Let's see, this is a high caffeine tea. I have 4 individual bags. Ooh. Ta-da! This is by Maud Tea in London. It says, Maud Tea is a British family business with a long tradition. They supply tea for the royal collection, including Buckingham Palace. Wake up with a quintessential British cuppa. So that's kind of cool that they actually supply the royal palace with this tea. I'll have to try this soon. And then the last one in here I already opened. And it is also a loose leaf tea, and it is from David's Tea. And I've bought from David's Tea before, and I do like their teas, except for like their teas with like chocolate in them. Like, I don't think it like doesn't do, I don't like it. Like, the idea of like chocolate melting in my tea like kind of freaks me out. But thankfully this one isn't one of those. This is a vanilla orchid tea, and it is an oolong tea. I get a lot of oolong tea from SipsBy. This is a low caffeine tea, and it's from China. I'm not going to pronounce the place because I don't know how to say it. Even though I took Chinese, I can't say it for you. And it has an added delicate swirl of vanilla for a perfectly balanced subtle cup that's lightly sweet, naturally floral, and divinely creamy. And I did like this tea. I like vanilla in my tea, which is interesting. I like vanilla Earl Grey tea, and I like London Fog, which is a vanilla Earl Grey tea like latte. So I'm excited that I got one in my January box and in my December box, a vanilla tea of some sort. So now to get to like the next portion of this video, and that's like the tea spill part. So I'm gonna be talking about my least favorite books of 2019 and my most disappointed reads of 2019. Tea spill time. I'm gonna talk about these in no specific order. There's actually more on this list than I thought there was going to be, since I only read 45 books this year. But also considering that, if these are my least favorite and most disappointed reads, the majority of my reads were good. So we'll just look at it that way. The one that I want to talk about first is The Furies by Katie Lowe. I am very disappointed in this book. If you saw my wrap-up video when I read The Furies in November, you will see how disappointed I was. I had such high hopes for this book. It was about black magic, dark magic, witches, the occult, this like boarding school. Like, it had all of the ingredients that I wanted, and it's like when you're like it's like Kevin from The Office. Like, he has this big pot of chili and he's so excited, and then he spills it, and then he's disappointed. That's how I felt when I read The Furies. Like, I was the chili on the floor. Like, that's how I felt when I read this book. I cannot with this book. I can say that I probably hate this book, even though I gave it a 3-star rating. And that's because I have hope that Katie Lowe will fix her mistakes and make a sequel that's better. But I think that's being highly optimistic. I wish I never read this book. I wish I DNF'd this book, but I kept reading because I thought maybe everyone was just being highly critical of this book. And it actually gets better. It does not get better. Everyone was right. I was wrong for continuing to read this book. And I wasted so much time that month reading this book. It was terrible. And I don't want to talk about it anymore. So, the next book that I'm going to talk about is Once Upon a Wishmas by Laura Bernard. And I also read this book in November. I am not a Christmas book reader. I just don't, because I know that they're already gonna be mushy, lovey, romance, Hallmark books. And I don't know who I'm kidding trying to read these books, because that's not me. I don't like Hallmark movies. So I don't know why I keep kidding myself and keep saying that I'm going to find like a romance genre that I like subgenre, because it's just not gonna happen. And I don't know why I keep kidding myself. And this book was no exception. Holiday romance books are not for me. It's like there's like a formula for like a Hallmark movie or like a holiday romance book, and it's like this Like, this plus this equals this. And it's the same formula all the time. I'm not gonna specify what this formula is because, as I said, I don't read these books, so I've only read one book. But from watching Hallmark movies and reading this book, I am pretty sure that they're the same. This book was part of a blog tour that I was a part of. And so I rated this book higher than I should have because I felt bad that I read this book for a blog tour and I hated it. So I rated it higher. Why do I do these things? I need to stop rating books higher because I feel bad. I just need to be honest and give it what it deserves. A lower rating. But whatever. I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm getting frustrated. Okay, so I hated that book. And like, the stuff that happened in this book, it's like the main character is a nanny and she is basically falling in love with the father of these kids that she's watching. And then they get married in one Christmas season. So during one Christmas, these two people meet, hate each other, fall in love, and then get married. Why? Why does this happen? It's so, like, this doesn't happen in real life. And I think that's what bothers me the most, that this stuff does not happen in real life. Like, it just doesn't. So I don't know why I tried to read this book. Because it just rubs me the wrong way. Next, we're gonna move on to The Whisper Man. I read this for a buddy read in October, and I was like, this sounds spooky. Everyone is afraid to read this book, so it must be scary. It was not. Spoiler alert, it's not scary. This book is basically a detective book. It's basically a story about a detective and his, like, childhood. And then there's, like, I've already, like, repressed most of what happened in this book, but I know that it didn't scare me. It's more of, like, a police detective book than a horror novel or a thriller, and I was very, very, very disappointed in this book. And I don't know. And that's how I feel about that. I want to talk about You Have Arrived at Your Destination. This was a short book that I read, well, I listened to. I believe it was in August or September. And it was part of the Forward collection from Amazon. And I listened to it from Amazon Prime. So I had high hopes for this book just from listening to it, and then that changed very drastically when I finished the book. So this book was supposed to be about this woman that can't get pregnant, and her and her husband are trying to figure out what they need to do to get pregnant and have a baby. So they go to this, like, clinic, and the clinic is supposed to help them choose what they want their baby to be when they grow up. Okay? And I was like, okay, this sounds cool. Like, this is something that I can totally see happening in the future, like these clinics popping up, and you get to choose, like, certain characteristics and traits of your child before you get pregnant with the child. And I was like, okay, this is cool. It's, like, very sci-fi, and I'm down with it. And then the story goes on, and the dad just gets drunk at a bar and gets into a fist fight at the bar instead of going to this meeting about the unborn baby. And then the book ends. What? I like thought it was a joke. Really? you hype me up about this sci-fi concept of picking your child's like characteristics, helping pick your child's future, and then the story just follows a drunken husband. And the husband is like so worried that his wife is like sleeping around with the guy that's like trying to help them pick the characteristics of their child, and that made no sense to me at all. It was just, this is what I want to do when I read these types of books. I also am disappointed with After You by Jojo Moyes. I read Me Before You, and I really loved that book, and I cried when I read that book. And then I watched the movie on my way from London to Greece, and I cried on the airplane watching this movie. And then I was like, okay, so I loved the first book so much, and now something drastic happened at the end of the first book, so I'm wondering what's going to happen in the second book. And like, she does like the exact opposite of what Will Traynor wanted her to do. The exact opposite. And it's like, she throws her life away in this book. And then like, she's so whiny and just like pitiful. And the whole book is just about her whiny life and like how she hates her life. And it's like, come on, like, that's not what Will wanted you to do. He wrote you a letter. He sent you to Paris. And this is what you do with your life? And I was very upset with this book, this whole thing. And I'm not going to continue, and I'm not going to read the next one because of this one. I'm not going to continue on with this series because this book ruined it for me. And I don't care about it anymore. The last book in this awful video is The Return of the Star Child by Katrina Murphy. I got this book from NetGalley, and I wanted to love this book. I liked the story of this book. I liked the concept of this book, but there were just too many grammatical errors, spelling errors, and character flaws in this book for me to love it. I understand that this is her first book. The main character, I don't even know her name at this point. She was this whiny, like, self-entitled character, and she got into fights with her parents for no reason at all, like, threw fits and disappears, and then like these like magical people come into her life and she just goes along with it, and then she fights with them like she didn't just go along with it like 2 lines ago, and she's contradicting her own character like throughout the whole book. And then the characters' names are messed up throughout the whole book. Like at one point in the book they're like, oh, we're gonna give ourselves code names so we don't use our real names, and then they never use the code names. They keep using their real names. It was like, okay, then why was that part of the book even in there if you're not even gonna do it? And then it just kept getting weirder. Like after the first like 3/4 of the book, it then turns into this sci-fi like alien robot book, and then at the end the main character is like a star and she like explodes. So I don't know. I gave it 2.5 stars because it kept my interest enough that I continued to read it, but I was so confused by the end of it that I was just like, what did I read? And I'm interested to see what she does for the second book. Like, I'm gonna read the second book just because I'm very curious in how her writing style changes from the first book to the second book. But man, that book was a ride. That's for sure. And it is a series because it says in parentheses after Return of the Star Child, Inheritance #1. So it's definitely a series. It's just, when is she gonna write the next one? Because I need to know what happens in this train wreck. Okay, I think that's all that I hated in 2019. Hopefully, so far, 2020, I haven't felt this awfully about a book. So that's good. Progress, we're moving forward. 2020, new me, new books, right? Hopefully. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in SipsBy, go ahead and check out the link in my description down below for $5 off your first box. Hit the subscribe button so you see my future videos, and I will see you in the next one.